morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of CyberMedia and on behalf of DataQuest, I welcome all of you for this second edition of the DQ DeepTech conference. Last year, we initiated this DeepTech conference because we thought that DeepTech is going to have a massive transformational impact, and therefore, as always, DataQuest must take the leadership in talking about new changes that will be brought about because of DeepTech. It was a fantastic first conference that we did. We had more than 3,000 people. We had more than 100 speakers, and buoyed by the success of the first one, we are now doing the second one. And I'm glad that this time around also we've got a great support from the industry, from the audience and so on. Very large number of people who are attending this. And I guess it is because there is this transformational aspect of DeepTech, and I'll talk more about it as we go along. But it is this transformation that everybody is watching very closely and understands that this is something that can actually change the future of the country, the future of the business of this country, the future of the citizenry of this company. And that is the reason why DeepTech is of paramount importance right now. So this year round, when we were just embarking on the conference, what we did was that we created a think tank which comprised a lot of startups who have been working in different areas of DeepTech, whether it was manufacturing, whether it was fintech, whether it was health, education, and so on. So we put together about somewhere between, I think, 15 to 20 people. The think tank was chaired by Mr. Manoj Kohli of SoftBank, and was co-chaired by Professor Abhay Karandikar, Director of IIT Kanpur. So we had great wisdom available to us right from the investment scenario as well as from the academic scenario. We had these deliberations almost about 3-4 months back. We captured the various thoughts that were emerging there, and then that helped us mold this entire agenda for today's conference. And that is what you will be seeing as you spend the entire day with us. What we then did was that that we prepared a position paper based upon the think tank inputs. Further, we will take the inputs from today's conference and we will convert this entire thing into a white paper. And this is the white paper that we will be, we hope can actually transform the entire DeepTech ecosystem in the country. We will be presenting it to the various stakeholders, the government of India. We will share it with various investor groups, various associations and so on. As you know, there are a very large number of associations which are associating with us for this DeepTech conference from different walks of life, from the various verticals that I was talking about in the past. So that is what we will be doing. Now, let me first talk about this disruption and how it is important. One thing that the pandemic has taught us, and the last 2 years of examples are in front of us, is that there was a mindset block for technology, and that mindset block has been removed by the pandemic. So lots of things which we are doing today were possible even before the pandemic, but we were not doing it. But today, whether it is work from home, whether it is healthcare, whether it is money, whether it is the way we are working in our homes, in our businesses, and so on, everything has been built upon the technology that was already available to us, but we had this mind block. And because of these mind blocks, those things were not happening. So technology really, the pandemic helped usher in a completely new era as far as the technology is concerned. And I think deep tech is going to have a similar kind of an impact going ahead in the future. You look at healthcare, you look at education, you look at the way we live our lives, you look at smart homes, you look at smart cities, you look at travel, you will, whichever area one looks at, we will find complete transformation taking place because of deep tech coming into each and every walk of life. We will find that there will be artificial intelligence and machine language used in almost each and everything that we do. You are already seeing that, just a few days back, I came back, I had gone on a trip and I was coming back and I had to fill in the air, so with a form. And what one realized was that the entire assessment of the risk of a passenger was being handled by artificial intelligence. So a travel experience has changed because of this particular reason. And perhaps what I'm taking is a very trivial example, but you can see it around you. In each and every activity that you do, you are finding that increasingly there is artificial intelligence and a lot of information about what you are going to be doing in a predictive nature is available, and that is something that comes back to you. Increasingly, we are also finding more and more drones and robots and so on. Once again, you can see the transformation that is taking place, whether it is agriculture, where now drones are getting used. If you look at delivery systems, people are talking about doing the delivery which is needed by the use of drones. If I look at entertainment, today there cannot be a wedding function that can happen in India without a drone being used. So once again, things are changing there. Increasing amount of robotics you're finding in manufacturing. Number of assembly lines are today very heavily automated, and thanks to the pandemic, that got accelerated because you did require contactless manufacturing. You did require very less labor dependent methodologies. And because of these reasons, once again, we have found that a whole lot of transformation is taking place. You look at blockchain, and the entire financial industry has got transformed because of that. But blockchain is not just going to stop there. It is not just that it is going to stop with cryptocurrencies. It will start getting into all the documentation that we do. It will start getting into all the government records and so on. So the essential thing is that it is going to build in trust. And the moment we are talking about trust, the trust behind each and every process is built in because of blockchain. If you look at AR, VR, once again, with different kind of experiences are going to alter that. Some of the areas where it is getting used is, for instance, in training. Large amount of training of people that is required to be done in terms of, whether it is maintenance, hazardous areas, and so on, is all being done using the VR AR. In our own field of media, AR VR is again getting utilized in a big way to enhance the user experience. Once again, I think, the combination of these multifarious technologies, the multifarious IoT devices and cloud and so on, we are looking at in 10 to 15 years time, we are going to be looking at a different world altogether in each and every area. Now, Where does India come in? And I think this is something that I would like to spend some time on. That if deep tech is going to have such a transformational role, then it is necessary for us to actually build a complete ecosystem so that we can take global leadership. In number of areas, we have not been able to take global leadership, but today uh, that opportunity is there in front of us. You know, if you look at some of the changes that I was talking about earlier, the PCs and so on, there we as a country took a role of being a service provider, software export industry, etc., all grew on the strength of on that. If I look at mobility and if I look at this connectivity and networks and so on, once again, as users, we have seen that how today's India is using these technologies in a completely different kind of a way. But we have not been able to take the technology leadership. We have made some attempts. In certain areas, we have done that. 5G, for example, was an area where there was a new technology which was emerging, and we ourselves had huge networks. We ourselves had the second largest number of mobile users in the entire world. And because of that, we started doing certain things where we started taking leadership in the deep tech domains. But more and more of those opportunities are going to come up in the future. And there is no reason why we cannot take a global leadership. Sometimes back we had done a healthcare conference. And in that healthcare conference, one issue which came out was that if you look at the global healthcare systems, the doctors are Indians, a large percentage. If you look at the nursing care, you will find that there is a large amount of Indians which are again there in the nursing care and so on. So why can't India actually be driving the technology? If we have the best doctors, if we have the best patient care, if we have the best technologies that are available to us, why can't we actually be setting up standards? Why can't we be becoming not just the service providers for the entire world, not just medical tourism, but why can't we be taking the leadership as far as technology is concerned here? Why can't devices be Indian or be of Indian origins? Why can't there be apps which are of Indian origin, which are actually then driving the entire world? In the case of virus, we have proved that Indian vaccines are being used globally in different places and so on. But why can't we create a complete healthcare ecosystem? And not just in healthcare, we can do it in so many different areas. So consequently, taking a global position becomes very important for us in technology. In deep tech, what is happening is that China is making very, very serious investments. EU has all got together and is all again making very serious investments as far as this area is concerned. US has always used technology as an important tool for transformation and will continue to do so. It is time for India also to emerge and start doing that same kind of a transformation. And I think we have a number of sessions in today's conference where we will be focusing on that. But for doing all that, we will need not just the will, but we also need the way. We need the ecosystem. We need an ecosystem where we require a policy. We require, the government, the private sector, and different stakeholders to come together so that a very, very healthy ecosystem can be created. We need the startups which have to take deep tech challenges, and these startups need to start working on different sort of solutions which are there. We need investors who should be then backing up these these startups, and funding should be available to them. We need to take challenges not just as individual company level, but at a national level. You know, the example of 5G that I was giving, that why could we not be setting up the standards for 5G or 6G, you know, the next generation that will come in? Why can't we be actually working out on the global technologies that are required for ensuring that the next generation of the network is there? You know, that is the sort of a thinking that we now need to do, that we are no longer going to be just taking technology which is coming from the West, from cheap products which are coming from the East. You know, we should ourselves become the central point for technology and the services and the products that go around that. And once again, there are a lot of sessions that we are having in today's conference in which we are going to be talking about that. I'm quite confident that in today's deliberations, we will come out with the right guidelines for what kind of ecosystem needs to be created, what sort of policy should be there, what should be the slogans that we should have, what sort of investments that are required to be made in that area. And we, as I mentioned earlier, we'll put that into a white paper, which is what we hope to present it to the various stakeholders. With that, once again, on behalf of CyberMedia, on behalf of DataQuest, I welcome all of you for today's deliberations. DeepTech has a transformational role. It is something that can actually make India as the global destination. And therefore, it is time for us to start looking at the impact of DeepTech and work out a complete, robust ecosystem so that we can actually emerge victorious. Thank you very much.